He walked into the small cafe quietly, his expensive shoes making soft sounds on the wooden floor. Even though he was a billionaire in the eyes of the world, here, in this little hometown cafe, he wanted to be invisible. He wanted to enjoy a moment away from the flashing cameras, the emails, the meetings that never seemed to end. Today, he was just a man who wanted a cup of coffee and a moment with his mother. His mother had insisted on coming to this cafe, a place she had loved for years. It was cozy, filled with the smells of fresh bread and strong coffee. The walls were warm with pictures of the town, and the laughter of the regular customers added life to the place. He had to admit he liked it too. The atmosphere reminded him of simpler times, before life had grown so complicated. He followed his mother to a small corner table near the window where sunlight spilled onto the floor. The window looked out onto the street where children were playing and neighbors waved to each other. As they sat down, the billionaire noticed her. She was moving gracefully among the tables, balancing a tray of drinks and pastries. Her smile was natural, warm, and it reached her eyes in a way that made the room feel brighter. She had the kind of presence that made people notice, but she didn't demand attention. It was effortless. He watched as she approached his mother, leaning slightly to hear her, listening carefully, and responding with a kindness that made his mother laugh. The sound of his mother laughing was rare, and he felt a tug in his chest. Seeing her like this, happy and relaxed, was a gift. He didn't want to interrupt, so he stayed back, quietly observing. The waitress and his mother were speaking in Italian, and he listened to the conversation, drawn by how natural it sounded. It wasn't just the language. It was the connection, the way they understood each other without trying too hard. His mother seemed completely at ease, and the waitress's gentle manner put him at peace. He felt a strange emotion rising in him, a feeling he hadn't expected. He realized that the way she spoke, the way she smiled, the way she moved, it was magnetic. It was as if she was bringing life into the small room in a way that money and power never could. The billionaire sipped his coffee quietly, trying not to stare too much. He reminded himself that this was just a cafe, just a simple interaction. But the truth was, he couldn't look away. Every gesture she made was filled with care. When she refilled his mother's glass of water, she did it with a subtle grace, smiling softly. When she placed a plate of pastries in front of them, she did it with warmth, not a hint of hurry or annoyance. She treated each person as if they were the most important person in the world, and that struck him deeply. His mother leaned back in her chair, her eyes sparkling as she laughed at something the waitress had said. The billionaire's heart swelled. He had seen his mother laugh many times, but not like this, not with such ease. She seemed to be enjoying not just the food or the cafe, but the company, the conversation. The waitress had that effect on people, it seemed. She had a way of making others feel seen, valued, and appreciated. The billionaire thought about how rare that was. In his world, most people were more concerned with money, power, and appearances. Here, he was seeing something real, something pure. The waitress moved to another table, taking orders from other customers, but she kept an ear on his mother, laughing quietly at a comment his mother made. He noticed how she remembered small details, how she brought an extra napkin without being asked, how she adjusted a chair for an elderly customer, how she made everyone feel comfortable without drawing attention to herself. It was a simple, everyday kindness, but it made the billionaire feel something he hadn't felt in a long time. Admiration, awe, and a strange, growing affection. He leaned back in his chair, pretending to look out the window while his eyes kept following her. She moved with purpose but without stress, navigating the busy cafe as if it were her own little world. Every time she smiled at a customer, he noticed how genuine it was. Not forced, not rehearsed. Real. He realized that wealth, power, and fame couldn't buy that kind of presence, that kind of warmth. It was something deeper, something born from her heart. As the conversation between his mother and the waitress continued, he started to pick up on the words, recognizing familiar phrases and expressions. He understood enough to feel the humor, the caring, the sincerity. His mother shared a small story from her childhood, and the waitress responded with laughter and a story of her own. They connected over memories, over culture, over language that was deeply familiar to both of them. It was beautiful, watching them share this simple human connection. The billionaire felt a lump in his throat. He didn't realize he could feel so moved by something so ordinary. But here he was, completely captivated by the way she spoke, the way she listened, the way she made his mother feel at ease. He thought about how he could approach her, but he didn't want to ruin the moment. He wanted to wait, to see more, to understand the person behind the smile and the warm gestures. He wanted to see her for who she truly was. There was something about her that made him pause, that made him forget for a while that he was a billionaire, that made him forget the pressures and responsibilities of his life. He was just a man, watching someone with genuine admiration, feeling a connection that didn't rely on money or status. The waitress returned to their table, placing a small plate of cookies in front of his mother. She said something quietly in Italian, and his mother's laughter filled the air again. The billionaire couldn't help but smile. The moment felt intimate, warm, and personal. Even though they were in a public cafe, there was a softness to the way she interacted, a kindness that seemed rare in the world. He felt drawn to it, drawn to her, and he realized that he had never felt this kind of pull toward anyone in a long time. He looked around the cafe, noticing other customers who were enjoying their meals, chatting with friends, and laughing at small jokes. The waitress moved gracefully among them, giving attention to each person without making anyone feel left out. Her energy was contagious, her warmth undeniable. He realized that the moment he was experiencing was not just about his mother or the waitress. It was about life in its simplest, purest form. The joy of human connection, the beauty of kindness, the power of a smile. As they continued to talk, he noticed a subtle elegance in the way she spoke. It wasn't about fancy words or complicated phrases. It was about sincerity, about authenticity. Every word, every gesture felt real, unforced, and meaningful. He felt his heart soften, and he understood that this was what he had been missing. In his world of luxury and success, real human connection was rare. But here, in this small cafe, he was witnessing it firsthand. The billionaire took a deep breath, savoring the moment. He wanted to remember every detail. The warmth of the sunlight through the window, the smell of coffee and pastries, the sound of his mother laughing, the gentle way the waitress had interacted with everyone. He wanted to hold onto this feeling, this simple yet profound joy. He knew that this was more than just a casual observation. Something inside him had shifted. He was no longer just a man watching. He was someone who was touched, who was moved, who was beginning to care deeply. For the first time in a long time, he felt a sense of calm, a sense of peace. He realized that he had been so focused on his business, his wealth, and his public image that he had forgotten the small, beautiful moments that made life worth living. And here, in this small cafe, watching the way the waitress spoke to his mother, he was reminded of that. He felt gratitude, admiration, and an unexpected spark of affection. As she walked away to attend to another table, he felt a pang of longing. He wanted to know more about her, to understand what made her so genuine, so kind, so captivating. He didn't want to interrupt the natural flow of her day, but he knew that he had to find a way to connect, even if it was just a small gesture. He wanted to see her smile again, to hear her laugh, to experience the warmth she brought into the room. He took another sip of coffee, feeling the rich taste, the warmth in his hands, and he let himself simply be. He allowed himself to watch, to listen, and to appreciate. The world outside the cafe didn't matter. The meetings, the wealth, the pressures, they were all far away. Here, in this moment, there was only the simple human beauty of connection. And as he watched the waitress move with grace and kindness, he knew that this was a moment he would never forget. He knew, deep down, that she had already captured something inside him, something he couldn't ignore or forget, and he welcomed it fully, quietly, and completely. The next time he returned to the cafe, he felt a little nervous. It was strange for him to feel nervous about a simple visit to a small cafe, but he could not ignore the pull he felt toward her. He reminded himself to stay calm, to enjoy the moment, and to let things happen naturally. His mother had gone with him again, happy to have a morning together, and she was already chatting with the waitress when he walked in. The warmth in their voices was immediately comforting. He watched her as she moved through the cafe, taking orders and checking on customers. He noticed details he had missed before. The small way she brushed her hair back when she was focused, the way she knelt slightly to speak to a child, the patience in her voice when helping someone who seemed unsure of what to order. Each action showed her kindness and attention. He felt himself being drawn in more deeply with every movement she made. He realized he was not just attracted to her beauty or smile, but to the way she made people feel cared for. His mother laughed at something the waitress said, and he felt his chest tighten. It was not just laughter. It was connection, a moment of shared understanding between two people from the same culture. He could see that his mother felt seen and appreciated. Watching this, he thought about how rare it was to find someone who naturally made others feel valued. Wealth and power could not create this feeling. It was a gift she carried with her in every word, every gesture. When she approached their table, he noticed her eyes meet his briefly. She smiled, and it felt like a simple greeting, yet there was something more in that smile. It was unassuming, friendly, and completely genuine. He wanted to talk to her, to know her, but he did not want to appear intimidating. He stayed quiet, letting his mother lead the conversation, but he listened closely, enjoying the natural rhythm of their words. As they spoke, he began to understand more of what was being said. Her laughter was musical, and the way she spoke to his mother was gentle and comforting. She remembered small details about his mother's life, what she liked to drink, which pastries she preferred, stories she had told before. It was more than good memory. It was attentiveness, a genuine interest in another person. He admired that deeply. He had people in his life who managed tasks perfectly, but very few who cared for others in such a sincere way. He realized this was rare, something he wanted to understand and experience more. He noticed that other customers seemed drawn to her as well. People smiled when she approached, some chatted with her, some waited patiently to be served. She made everyone feel important without making anyone feel small. He wondered how she could do it so naturally. There was a warmth around her that was infectious, a calmness that made everyone in the room feel safer and happier. It was not something that could be bought or learned in school. It was something innate. He sipped his coffee and felt a strange mix of admiration and curiosity. He wanted to know everything about her, not in a way that was intrusive, but in a way that made sense for two people who might have a chance to know each other better. He watched her closely, noticing how she treated a young couple ordering breakfast, how she offered advice to a confused customer, how she balanced multiple tasks without ever seeming stressed. Each moment added to his growing fascination. When she returned to take their order, he finally spoke. He asked a simple question about one of the pastries, trying to sound casual. She responded immediately, her tone friendly and patient. He noticed that she looked him in the eye, not with curiosity about who he was, but as a person worthy of being heard. That small detail struck him deeply. He realized that she treated him like everyone else, without prejudice, without judgment. That was rare in a world where people often acted differently when they knew someone's status or wealth. Their conversation was short but meaningful. She recommended a pastry she loved, explaining why it was her favorite. He smiled, feeling the connection deepen. Her words were simple, but the way she said them made him feel included, respected, and seen. It was a rare feeling for him, one he had not felt in a long time. He realized that her charm was not in extravagance or attention-seeking, but in the quiet authenticity of her presence. As the morning went on, he continued to observe her. He noticed that she seemed genuinely happy when helping people, not as an obligation, but because it brought her joy. She moved through the cafe with ease, balancing trays, answering questions, and sharing small jokes. Even the smallest gestures, like refilling a cup or offering a napkin, seemed infused with kindness. He felt his heart opening in ways he did not expect, noticing that each act of hers had a subtle power to make people feel better. He felt compelled to participate more in the conversation, to engage, to show interest. He asked his mother to tell a story from her childhood, and the waitress listened intently, laughing at the funny parts and reacting gently to the emotional ones. He noticed her ability to empathize, to respond in a way that felt natural and heartfelt. He realized that this was a quality that could not be taught. It had to come from within. By the time they were finishing their breakfast, he felt a new appreciation for life's simple moments. He had come to the cafe thinking it would be a routine visit, a quiet morning with his mother, and instead he had witnessed something extraordinary. A human connection so real and touching that it affected him deeply. He realized that it was not just his mother she had captivated, but him as well. He felt a spark of emotion, a mix of admiration, curiosity, and an unexplainable pull toward her. When it was time to leave, he paid the bill and thanked her. She smiled, as if their encounter had been just another part of her day. He felt a pang of longing as they walked out, wishing he could spend more time, wishing he could know her better. He knew that he wanted to return, to see her again, to learn more about the person behind the warm smile and gentle laughter. Outside the cafe, the sunlight felt brighter, and the world seemed more vibrant. He realized that the morning had changed him in subtle ways. He had come expecting nothing, and he had found something beautiful. A glimpse of authenticity, kindness, and a connection that felt rare in his life. As they walked down the street together, he felt a quiet hope, a desire to see her again, and a growing recognition that some moments in life, no matter how small, could leave a lasting impact. That evening, he thought about the cafe and the waitress. He remembered the way she had spoken to his mother, the gentle smile, the effortless kindness. He found himself replaying small gestures in his mind, realizing that they had made him feel something he had not felt in years. A deep, simple, human connection. He felt inspired to return, to continue to experience these moments, and to discover if there was more to their story. The next morning, he found himself thinking about her again. He wondered about her life, her dreams, and the little things that made her who she was. He realized that he wanted to learn more, not for superficial reasons, but because he genuinely admired her heart. She had captured something intangible, something that went beyond appearances and wealth. She had captured his attention, his admiration, and perhaps, unknowingly, his heart. As he planned to return to the cafe, he felt a sense of anticipation. He did not know what would happen next, but he felt a quiet excitement. He wanted to see her again, to share another morning with his mother, and perhaps to connect in a way that felt natural and meaningful. He understood that life had a way of surprising people in the most unexpected ways, and he was ready to embrace it fully, with an open heart, a curious mind, and a genuine desire to connect. He returned to the cafe that morning with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Each step toward the familiar door felt heavier and lighter at the same time. He was nervous because he wanted to see her again and nervous because he did not want to appear out of place. He was used to a life where people treated him differently, but here he wanted to be just a man, not a billionaire. He wanted the encounter to be natural and genuine, the way he had seen her interact with his mother the last 2 visits. When he entered, the cafe felt alive. The smell of fresh coffee and pastries filled the air. Regular customers were chatting, laughing, and enjoying their morning. She was moving among the tables, gracefully balancing trays and taking orders. Her presence seemed to make the room brighter without any effort. The moment she looked in his direction and smiled briefly, something inside him lifted. It was just a small gesture, a fleeting moment, yet it carried warmth, and it made his heart beat faster. He found their usual table, and his mother was already there, waving at him. The waitress came over and greeted his mother warmly. He watched her, fascinated by the ease and naturalness of her movements. Every gesture seemed thoughtful, every word kind. She had a way of listening that made people feel important, and he was captivated by it. His mother laughed at something she said, and the sound filled the room with joy. He realized that he had never felt so connected to a simple scene, so moved by everyday human interactions. He decided to break the silence and spoke to her. He asked about one of the pastries she had recommended last time, and she responded with her usual warmth and patience. Their conversation began naturally, small and simple, yet it felt significant. She listened carefully, her eyes attentive, her smile gentle. He felt seen in a way he had not expected. He realized that her presence alone had a calming effect, making him feel at ease despite his nerves. As the morning progressed, he found himself joining more in the conversation. He shared a memory from his childhood, a simple story about his mother and the town they grew up in. She listened intently, responding with laughter and empathy. He was amazed at how easily she connected with him, how she seemed genuinely interested without any judgment or pretense. It was refreshing, and he felt an unexpected joy in sharing moments with her. Even if they were small and ordinary, he noticed that she remembered small details from their previous encounters. She asked about his mother's favorite pastries, mentioned a story from their last visit, and smiled at small jokes. It was clear that she paid attention, and it made him feel valued. He reflected on how rare this attentiveness was in his life. People often treated him differently because of who he was, but here he was treated like anyone else with respect and kindness. It was a rare and precious feeling. The way she moved through the cafe fascinated him. She balanced multiple orders, helped customers, and still managed to check in on his mother without appearing rushed. Every action seemed intentional and thoughtful. She had a presence that could calm a busy room and make everyone feel comfortable. He admired her ability to give her attention to many while still making each person feel special. It was a talent, a gift, and he found himself drawn to it more with each passing moment. As they finished their breakfast, he felt a growing curiosity about her life. He wanted to know more, not just about her job or the cafe, but about her thoughts, dreams, and experiences. He wanted to understand the person behind the smile, behind the kindness that had captured his attention. He realized that his fascination was not superficial. It was genuine admiration and a desire to know someone deeply. He noticed her interactions with other customers. She remembered their names, listened to their stories, and responded with care. Even in small moments, like refilling a cup or offering advice, she exuded a natural grace. Her actions were not forced or performed for attention. They were sincere, authentic, and it drew him in further. He felt a mix of admiration, respect, and a growing affection. There was something rare in her, a light that made ordinary moments feel extraordinary. He decided to participate more actively in the conversation, asking his mother and the waitress questions, listening carefully to their answers. He laughed at their jokes, shared his own stories, and noticed how effortlessly she responded. It was as if she had a talent for making people feel comfortable, making them want to open up. He realized that he felt more alive in these moments, more human, more connected than he had felt in years. During a quiet moment, he asked her about her life outside the cafe. She spoke softly, sharing small pieces of her story, her love for her town, her family, and the little joys she found in her work. He listened intently, noticing how genuine her words were. There was no exaggeration, no need to impress. It was simple, honest storytelling, and it captivated him. He admired her for her authenticity and the way she embraced life with a quiet strength. He felt compelled to express his appreciation for her kindness. He thanked her for the warmth she brought to their morning, for the way she made his mother feel valued, and for the care she showed to everyone in the cafe. She smiled, modestly acknowledging his words. He realized that she was not used to receiving compliments, not because she lacked confidence, but because she gave more than she received. Her humility made her even more remarkable to him. As the morning continued, he felt a growing desire to see her again. He wanted to spend more time in her presence, not just for the charm she exuded, but for the genuine human connection he felt. He understood that wealth and status meant little in these moments. What mattered was authenticity, kindness, and the ability to make others feel valued. She had all of these qualities, and he felt fortunate to witness them. When it was time to leave, he lingered at the table, not wanting to end the morning. He thanked her once more and promised to return. She smiled and nodded, her warmth unchanged. As he walked out of the cafe, he felt a quiet excitement, a hope that this connection could grow. He realized that the ordinary moments shared over coffee and pastries had already left a lasting impression on him. Later, As he reflected on the morning, he realized how much he had learned about the simple joys of life. He thought about the laughter, the small stories, and the attentiveness that had made the morning special. He understood that it was not just the moments themselves, but the people involved that created their magic. She had a rare ability to bring life to ordinary interactions, and he admired her for it. He knew that he wanted to continue experiencing these moments. He wanted to see her again, to learn more about her, and perhaps to share more of himself. He realized that his feelings were growing, not in a rush or overwhelming way, but slowly, naturally, as he appreciated her authenticity and the genuine warmth she brought to everyone around her. That evening, he found himself thinking about her often. He remembered her laughter, her smile, and the care she had shown to his mother. He reflected on how her presence had made him feel seen, appreciated, and alive. He understood that this connection was rare and precious, something worth nurturing and exploring. He felt a quiet determination to return to the cafe, to see her again, and to continue discovering the depth of their connection. As he planned his next visit, he felt anticipation and hope. He did not know what the future held, but he felt ready to embrace it with an open heart. He wanted to connect genuinely, to share moments of laughter and conversation, and to explore the growing bond he felt with her. He understood that life could surprise people in the most unexpected ways, and he was ready to embrace those surprises, starting with the warmth and authenticity of the woman who had already captured his heart. He found himself returning to the cafe more often, not because he wanted food or coffee, but because he wanted to see her. Each visit brought a mix of excitement and curiosity. He wanted to understand her better, to learn more about the person behind the warm smile and gentle laughter. It was strange for him, a man used to having everything he wanted, to feel so drawn to someone for purely human reasons. Yet here he was captivated by the simple, genuine kindness she showed. Each morning, he arrived with his mother, enjoying their time together, but always aware of her presence. She moved through the cafe with the same grace, the same attentiveness, and he noticed new details each time. How she remembered a regular customer's preferences, how she balanced multiple tasks without appearing rushed, how she greeted each person as if they mattered the most in the world. He admired her, and a quiet warmth spread through him as he watched her in her element. They began to speak more, slowly opening up in small ways. He asked about her life, her family, and her dreams. She answered softly, sharing small details without revealing everything, but enough to give him a sense of who she was. She spoke with humility, honesty, and warmth. He listened carefully, fascinated by her perspective on life, the way she found joy in simple moments, the way she cared for others without expecting anything in return. It was a perspective he had almost forgotten existed in his world of business and wealth. He started sharing more about himself, small stories from his childhood, memories of his family, and moments that shaped him. He did not reveal his wealth or status, not because he wanted to hide it, but because it did not matter in these moments. He wanted to connect as a person, not as a billionaire. She listened with interest, occasionally laughing or nodding in understanding. Her reactions were genuine, unforced, and that honesty drew him closer to her. As the mornings continued, he began to notice subtle ways she affected him. Her presence brought calmness, her smile lifted his spirits, and her laughter made ordinary moments feel extraordinary. He realized that her influence was not about words or gestures alone, but about the authenticity she carried. It was rare and precious, and he felt grateful to witness it. He understood that he was experiencing something meaningful, something he wanted to nurture and explore. He noticed that she began to recognize him more personally, not as a customer but as someone familiar. She greeted him warmly, remembered his preferences, and asked about his mother. It was not dramatic or exaggerated. It was simple recognition and care. He appreciated the normalcy of it, the way she treated him as just another human being, not someone to impress or judge. Her simplicity and authenticity made him feel comfortable, allowing him to open up in ways he rarely did. Over time, small gestures became more meaningful. He left notes with kind words, paid for meals occasionally without drawing attention, and tried to make her mornings easier with small acts of thoughtfulness. She noticed these gestures but did not make a big deal of them, appreciating them quietly. Their connection grew subtly, naturally, without rushing or forcing anything. Each interaction built trust, familiarity, and a quiet sense of anticipation. He realized that he looked forward to these mornings more than anything else in his day. They were not about business, wealth, or appearances. They were about connection, laughter, and understanding. He valued her perspective, her kindness, and the way she made him feel alive. She had a rare ability to see people, to understand them, and to bring out their best selves without even trying. He felt honored to be on the receiving end of her attention and care. As the bond deepened, he shared more personal thoughts and feelings. He spoke about his fears, his hopes, and the loneliness that sometimes came with his lifestyle. She listened without judgment, responding with empathy and gentle encouragement. Her presence was grounding, comforting, and inspiring. He realized that he could trust her with parts of himself he had never shared with anyone else. It was a rare intimacy, born not from romance alone, but from genuine human understanding. They laughed together, shared small jokes, and enjoyed lighthearted moments that felt meaningful. Each smile, each glance, each word exchanged created a tapestry of connection that neither of them rushed. The mornings in the cafe became a ritual, a space where both felt seen and appreciated. He realized that these moments were shaping his understanding of what truly mattered in life: authenticity, kindness, and human connection. He noticed how she treated other people as well, always with the same care and attention. It was consistent, unchanging, and it revealed the depth of her character. He admired not only her personality but also the way she carried herself through life. It was inspiring, and he felt motivated to become a better version of himself, to embrace simplicity, gratitude, and empathy in his own life. Their conversations began to touch on deeper subjects. He asked about her dreams, the challenges she faced, and the moments that brought her joy. She spoke openly, sharing her hopes and struggles in a way that felt authentic. He listened intently, realizing that her resilience and perspective were remarkable. She had faced difficulties, yet she remained kind, humble, and optimistic. He found this inspiring and humbling, recognizing that wealth and status could never replicate such strength of character. He began to understand that the connection he felt was not fleeting or superficial. It was built on genuine understanding, shared moments, and mutual respect. He valued her presence in his life, not for her beauty or charm alone, but for the way she made him feel alive, grounded, and appreciated. Each morning at the cafe became a lesson in humanity, patience, and the quiet power of kindness. He started thinking about ways to support her without overwhelming her. He wanted to make her life easier, to bring small joys into her days, and to express his admiration without creating pressure. He realized that his actions mattered more than words, and that thoughtful gestures, no matter how small, could communicate his respect and appreciation effectively. As they shared another morning together, he noticed a subtle shift. There was an unspoken understanding between them, a recognition of the bond that had formed. It was not romantic in a dramatic sense yet, but it was deeply personal, meaningful, and rare. They laughed together, shared quiet moments, and found comfort in each other's company. He realized that he had found something he had long been searching for: connection, authenticity, and the simple joy of being with someone who truly understood him. When the morning ended, he left the cafe with a sense of fulfillment. He reflected on the morning, the conversation, and the small gestures that had made it special. He felt gratitude for the moments they shared, admiration for her character, and a quiet anticipation for the next meeting. He understood that these moments were precious, not because of wealth or status, but because of the human connection they represented. That evening, he found himself thinking about her often. He remembered the way she laughed, the warmth in her eyes, the gentle way she interacted with others. He realized that she had touched his heart in ways he had not anticipated. It was not about romance or desire alone. It was about respect, admiration, and the recognition of genuine human goodness. He felt fortunate to have crossed paths with her and looked forward to the mornings ahead, knowing that each visit would bring new moments of connection, understanding, and shared humanity. He understood that life had a way of introducing people who could leave a lasting impact. She had already changed the way he viewed simple moments, making him appreciate the beauty in everyday interactions. He felt inspired to continue nurturing this bond, to learn from her, and to experience the quiet, meaningful moments that life had to offer. Each morning at the cafe had become more than a routine. It was a journey of discovery, a lesson in empathy, and a testament to the power of genuine human connection. With each visit, he felt a growing sense of anticipation and hope. He wanted to continue seeing her, learning more about her, and sharing moments that were authentic and meaningful. He understood that wealth and status could not create these experiences. They were built on trust, respect, and genuine attention. He cherished this realization and felt a quiet determination to honor the connection they had formed, one morning at a time, with patience, kindness, and a sincere heart. He walked into the cafe that morning feeling a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. The past visits had created a bond, subtle yet powerful, and he knew that today might feel different. He wondered if she would notice the way he felt, if she would understand the depth of admiration and connection that had grown over these mornings. He reminded himself to be patient, to appreciate each moment, and to allow things to unfold naturally. As he entered, the familiar warmth of the cafe greeted him. The smell of freshly baked pastries and strong coffee filled the air, comforting and inviting. She was there, moving gracefully among the tables, smiling at customers, remembering details from past conversations. Her presence had a quiet power, a way of making everyone around her feel valued and seen. When their eyes met briefly, she smiled, and he felt a wave of calm wash over him. It was as if the world outside the cafe no longer mattered, and there was only this moment between them. He joined his mother at their usual table, noticing how her face lit up at the sight of the waitress. Their conversation began naturally, laughter and small stories filling the air. He watched as she interacted with other customers, her kindness and attentiveness consistent and genuine. It amazed him how she could bring warmth to so many people, including him without effort or pretense. He felt drawn not just to her presence, but to the way she made everyone feel important and appreciated. He decided to engage more personally, asking about her day and her life outside the cafe. She spoke with honesty, sharing moments of joy, small dreams, and stories from her past. He listened intently, fascinated by her perspective and the simplicity with which she embraced life. He shared his own stories too, moments from his childhood and family that revealed his vulnerabilities. She listened without judgment, responding with empathy and warmth. It was rare for him to feel so understood, and it deepened the connection between them. Their interactions began to carry a sense of anticipation and quiet excitement. He found himself looking forward to these mornings, not because of the cafe or the coffee, but because of her. Each smile, each word, each gesture strengthened the bond they had formed. He realized that he cared for her deeply, not for superficial reasons, but for the authenticity and kindness she brought into the world. She had captured his heart in ways he had not anticipated. He noticed how she treated others with the same warmth and respect. She remembered small details about her regular customers, listened to their stories, and responded with genuine interest. Her consistency and authenticity made him admire her even more. He understood that the connection he felt with her was special, rare, and built on mutual respect and understanding. It was not forced or dramatic, but natural, gentle, and profound. As the morning went on, he decided it was time to reveal more of himself. He spoke about his work, his travels, and the pressures that came with his lifestyle. He did not boast about his wealth or status. He simply shared his experiences, hoping to be seen as a person rather than a title. She listened with curiosity and care, asking thoughtful questions and responding with honesty. He felt a sense of relief and gratitude, realizing that he could be authentic in her presence without fear of judgment. Their conversation shifted to more personal subjects. He asked about her dreams, her challenges, and the moments that had shaped her. She spoke openly, revealing the resilience and strength she carried quietly. He admired her courage and perspective, recognizing that these qualities were rare and valuable. He felt inspired to be more present, more attentive, and more appreciative of the simple joys in life. Her influence on him was profound, making him reflect on his priorities and values. They shared laughter, small jokes, and light-hearted moments, each interaction strengthening their bond. He noticed the subtle ways she made him feel comfortable, accepted, and valued. It was not about grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but about the quiet, meaningful moments they shared. He realized that this connection was built on authenticity, trust, and mutual respect, and it was more powerful than anything he had experienced before. He decided to express his feelings in a sincere and heartfelt way. He told her how much he appreciated her kindness, her attentiveness, and the warmth she brought into the cafe. He admitted that her presence had captured his heart, not in a fleeting or superficial way, but in a way that had changed him deeply. She listened quietly, her expression thoughtful, and he felt a mixture of anticipation and hope. Her response was gentle and genuine. She acknowledged his words with a smile, expressing that she had enjoyed their time together as well. She spoke of the joy she found in simple human connection and the appreciation she felt for his honesty and openness. It was a moment of mutual understanding, a recognition of the bond they had formed over shared mornings, conversations, and experiences. He felt a sense of relief, gratitude, and deep emotional fulfillment. They continued to share the morning, discussing dreams, hopes, and small stories from their lives. Each word, each gesture reinforced the connection they had built. He realized that he valued her presence not because of admiration alone, but because of the genuine understanding and kindness she embodied. She had touched his heart in a way that wealth, power, and status never could. As they prepared to leave the cafe, he felt a sense of anticipation for the future. He understood that their bond was unique, built on authenticity, empathy, and shared humanity. He looked forward to continuing their mornings together, exploring the depth of their connection, and nurturing the trust and respect they had developed. Each visit was an opportunity to deepen their understanding and appreciation for each other. Later that evening, he reflected on the day, the conversations, and the small moments that had made it special. He thought about her laughter, her attentiveness, and the warmth she brought to everyone around her. He realized that she had left an indelible mark on his heart, one that went beyond admiration or attraction. It was a connection grounded in genuine human understanding, kindness, and shared experience. He felt grateful for the moments they had shared, for the simplicity and authenticity that defined their interactions. He understood that life had a way of bringing people together in unexpected ways, and he cherished the serendipity that had led him to her. He knew that their connection was rare, precious, and worth nurturing with patience, care, and sincerity. The following mornings continued to be filled with shared laughter, meaningful conversations, and quiet moments of understanding. Each encounter strengthened their bond, reinforcing the respect, admiration, and affection they had for each other. He realized that he had found something he had long been searching for, a genuine connection that transcended superficialities and spoke to the heart. Over time, their relationship grew deeper, built on trust, shared experiences, and mutual appreciation. They continued to enjoy the simplicity of mornings in the cafe, discovering more about each other and finding joy in small, meaningful moments. He felt a sense of fulfillment and happiness that had been missing from his life, a quiet contentment that came from authentic human connection. He reflected on the journey that had brought them together, from the first morning of observing her kindness to the moments of shared understanding and heartfelt conversation. He realized that she had captured his heart in the most genuine way, not through grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but through her authenticity, warmth, and care for others. It was a connection built on trust, respect, and shared humanity, and he cherished it deeply. As they continued to spend time together, he understood that their bond was a testament to the power of genuine human connection. It was a reminder that true relationships are built on authenticity, empathy, and shared experiences. He felt grateful for her presence in his life and looked forward to the future with hope, anticipation, and a heart full of appreciation. The mornings at the cafe had become more than a routine. They were a source of joy, learning, and personal growth. He understood that the connection he shared with her was rare and precious, one that could not be forced or manufactured. It was built on mutual respect, understanding, and the simple beauty of being seen and valued for who they truly were. He knew that he would continue to nurture this bond, appreciating each moment, each conversation, and each shared experience. He realized that life's most meaningful connections are often found in unexpected places, through simple, authentic interactions. She had captured his heart not through wealth or status, but through kindness, authenticity, and the ability to make others feel valued and understood. He felt fortunate to have crossed paths with her and knew that their mornings together would continue to shape his understanding of love, connection, and the beauty of genuine human relationships. As he left the cafe that day, he felt a profound sense of gratitude and fulfillment. He had found something rare and meaningful, a connection that transcended superficialities and spoke to the heart. He looked forward to the next morning, the next conversation, and the continued journey of understanding, trust, and shared humanity. He knew that she had truly captured his heart, and he welcomed it fully, with sincerity, patience, and an open heart.